Well, morning everyone. It's been a while since we've spoken. Quite a few things have gone on, apart from me having an absolutely hideous back and being signed off work for nearly 2 months. So brewing was a bit hit and miss in that period. Plenty of beer drinking, but not much brewing. I thought it's about time that I talked a little bit about what's been going on, what I've got going on. I'll talk a little bit in a moment once I've had a shower, what I'm brewing today while everyone's out, and talk about a few of the other bits and pieces, plans that are afoot, and yeah, what's going on. So yeah, hopefully like the video. So I'm just measuring out the grains for this little recipe, just for mashing. The water's outside just heating up at the moment, so I just thought I'd show you what I'm mainly got as part of this IPA recipe. So it's not very much, it's about 2% crystal malt, about 18% Vienna, and all the rest is just Marisotto. So I'm just going to measure that out here and get it ready, because I would imagine the water will be probably around about temperature now, and I'll show you the rather interesting hops we're going to be adding in along the way. So yeah. Oh yeah, I just thought something else I'd just share with you quickly is, and I guess I'll cover this at some point in either in another video a little bit later on, is the importance in water, getting your water pH and your mineral levels right. I've been doing a lot with that recently, and it's made quite a bit of difference. So I'm just adding half a teaspoon of calcium chloride. That's all I generally need to add for a hoppy kind of IPA beer like this. So yeah, just thought I'd talk about that now, and we can talk about all the other sort of stuff, Epsom salts and all those sort of things, probably either a little bit later on or on a separate video. Just another little thing that I've learnt along the way since we've been doing a lot of this is buying in bulk. You'll see here that actually I've gone out and bought a 25 kilo bag of Marisotto, you know, big base to most of your recipes, but on the dusty side, to make up the recipes, whereas buying this for local homebrew shop was like 32 quid if you bought this in 1, 2, 3 kilo packs. Over a whole bag's worth, you're going to be paying nearly 20 quid more. So actually, if you can do it, and if you think you're going to use it, say, over 6 months, highly recommend buying it. It's a bit more dustier, a bit dirtier to measure out for your brews, but it's definitely worth it. Comes pre-crushed, so you don't even need to worry about crushing it. So why the hell not? And I just thought I'd share that other little bit of wisdom with you that I've learned along the way. Alright everyone, I just thought I'd share with you how I've sussed out how to activate these things. Anyone that's seen earlier videos, I've used quite a few more of these since then. This is 1272 American Ale 2 that I'm using for my brew today. But this is the technique I've developed, because the pictures on the back aren't great in telling you what to do. So I find that if I balance it in my hand like this and kind of give it a shake, and I know I've got the pack down the bottom corner, and if I balance it like that and give it a whack, I can hear it fizzing straight away. So I find if I then give it a good old squidge and a shake, immediately starts to expand. It's been out of the fridge for 10-15 minutes. Keep all these in the fridge, like you should do. So yeah, see, that's gone now. Yeah, sorted. So that, balance it in there, it's one whack with the back of your hand, just there, straight into there, seems to do the job. See, I can hear that fizzing away like a good, so that should be ready in a couple of 3 hours. And I'll show you how these, at least the white labs, doesn't pitch quite the same, but I'll show you what I've done to with pitching these. I've learned over the last sort of 6 or 8 months, which is quite interesting, which is different to how it said there, but I don't seem to find any detrimental effects. So cool. See you in a bit. I am going to have a shower. There's just this one bit of the brew today that I wanted to show you on the Braumeister that I've been battling with for the last 6-8 months. It's been doing my head in, and I've made some changes to the mash schedules to try and sort it out, which is protein haze in my beer when it's sort of chilled below 6 or 7 degrees. So yeah, I just thought I'd show you this little bit with the mash schedule, because this is something I've been battling with for a good old while now, and I've added in this 25-minute protein rest into the mash schedule to try and solve it, which is protein haze in all of my beer when it's chilled below sort of 6 degrees. Just ruins the look. It doesn't affect the taste, but just ruins the look of it. It's doing my head in a bit. So I've got this good strong 25-minute 50-degree protein rest in there that I've been doing for the last 2-3 brews now, to try and solve. I've also been trying not to be greedy and tipping the Braumeister to get the last few dregs out, because I think the protein might be coagulating and dropping to the bottom, and then I just pour it all out. So yeah, I'm sure I'll get to show you some beers over the coming weeks, so we'll show you some and we'll see if it works. Hi there again, everyone. Things have moved on a little bit, namely I've had a shower, which always helps, keeping the sterility and all that sort of thing with all this good brew and stuff. Just thought I'd fill you in on where we're kind of at with this IPA recipe that I was talking about earlier. So we've just finished the mashing. We're just draining out the pipe on the Braumeister at the moment. I'm just sterilising the fermenter it's going to go into. Just a quick look, hang on a second. So that's the fermenter I'm just filling up with sterilant. I tend to use about 15 ml Star San, and then I fill the whole thing up with water. Loads of foam, fill it right up to the top, put the lid on so the lid gets covered in foam. I'll let it sit for a couple of hours, make sure it's all properly sterile before we put in any beer and yeast in there. Whereas here we're just finishing the draining out. I think I've learnt with the Braumeister over a bit of time to hit my numbers correctly, and I'll talk about the importance of numbers a little bit later. Is to top the water up after finishing mashing to just underneath the seal on the pipe, and that will become evident later, because it seems to give me exactly the right amount of boil liquid after absorption from the grains, to give me pretty much the exact numbers all the way through. So that's one of the key things I've learnt with this, is if you get the pre-boil volume right, everything else follows correctly all the way through. And one of the other things I've learned is, definitely since starting to use Beersmith over the last 6-8 months, is printing your recipe out and following that recipe through and making notes and making sure you're hitting your numbers. So it's boiling away quite nicely. It's trying to get up to temperature there. Yeah, we'll finish some sterilising and we'll speak in a bit. So here we are again, people. Family's gone out to a kiddies party this afternoon, so I've got a bit of peace and quiet, so should actually be able to do some decent recording to show you what's going on. Now, I mentioned earlier about numbers. So getting your things I've learnt over the last year, definitely with working with this Braumeister, is about checking your numbers at the right point along the way. So and also being able to use Beersmith, other products are available, to check it against, or at least to tell you what you should be expecting to see and then what you're getting. So it's just coming up about 99 degrees, so just about to start to hit the rolling boil. I've taken a sample, popped it in the fridge, because of course, as we all know, your sample has to be at room temperature to be able to get an accurate specific gravity reading. So that's just chilling, and then I should just be able to add any more water if I need to. Hopefully not, from knowing where I need to top it up to hit the right specific gravity. But I think we're looking for about 1.047 pre-boil, at about 28 litres volume pre-boil, because I think should lose around about 3.5 to 4 litres into the boil. I've also measured out the hops ready as well. So we've got 60 minutes, 10 minutes and 1 minute. I don't quite like this kind of steep flame out thing, so I just go for 1 minute. It goes in right there just before the boil ends, and it just hits that downside, so you get a bit more out of it, I think, because because of the protein problem I've been having, I don't like the wort to sit for too long. I like to get straight into chilling it the moment it finishes. So that's the reason for doing that. So just pop outside now and see how the where we're going on the boil. Probably come back and then check the specific gravity. So here we are, just off the boil. Just hold this back because we get a big fluff of steam. There she is. There's a good hot break going on. So yeah, boiling away quite nicely. Should see, notice the lose like half a degree, literally just taking the lid off. So that'll kind of make that back and hit the boil. We've got a 70-minute boil to go. So that's all there. You'll see the I was talking about earlier. That's now. See, that's all full up with bubbles, and all the bubbles are all up because of course that sterilant's really good with its bubbles to sterilise everything. So that's now soaking away quite nicely, ready to take all of this lot when it's all boiled out. So here we are, gravity check. This is a pre-boil, so this is just before we started to hit the boiling. Now I've had this in the fridge. This isn't quite room temperature yet, so I expect this to still read a little bit out. Excuse the dodgy one-handed camera work. Just trying to. I happened to I warped this tube with some hot water once. It's never quite been straight since. So what I tend to do is put a bit of tissue in the bottom to catch overflows, but then also to allow me to adjust it. Now I believe we're looking for a pre-boil gravity of about I think 1047. And just step away here. Oh yeah, look, by the way, look at this, look, nicely bloated. Don't know if you can hear that fizzing away like a good one. 1043 actually. So this is, I don't know, are you going to focus on that? There we go. So we're about 1034 at the moment, something like that. But that is way off room temperature, so I'm expecting that to rise quite a bit actually, as that cools in the tube. Not a bad colour. Obviously it'll darken up a bit more as it boils down, but I'm expecting that to be pretty much bang on. So I think we'll be about ready for our first hop edition any minute now. So actually I think that's even rising as we're looking at it, I think. Later hops are just here, so we've got this is going to be quite an interesting one. I've never used Galaxy or Nelson's before, so this should be quite interesting. We've got 20 grams of Galaxy here at 10 minutes with 10 grams of Nelson's Nelson solvent, and then another 20 grams of Galaxy and 10 grams of Nelson's at 1 minute, and then we've got 22 grams of Simcoe outside, which I think we should be adding round about now. So let's get outside. So here we are at first hop edition, so let's get it in. Just swap you around a sec. So here we go, add hops at 1 of 1. So this is our 22 grams of Simcoe. That should do all of our bittering. So let's this off, and oh yeah, good boil going on there. Pop that down there, excuse the one-handedness. So yeah, hops in. As I've learnt with this, you've got to chuck it in one, because otherwise the steam makes it all stick to the inside of the pot. So let's just give that an okay, and there isn't another addition now for another 50 minutes. So we can get on with a few other jobs and bits and pieces, but yes, super duper. Hi everyone, just thought we're just coming to the end of the boil now, so we're going to go and take another sample, post-boil sample. I just thought I'd show you now. This has got up to room temperature, and I don't know if you can see that. Is that focusing? But that's pretty much bang on 1043. So it's yeah, it's come good, pretty much getting to room temperature. So there you go. So that's pretty much how I need to go and get another sample, and then again let that get down to room temperature. Yeast is probably about ready to burst, so it's all good. Right, we've got the last hop addition to do, which should be any minute now. So yes, in about 1.5 minutes. So yeah, happy days. So here we are, we've just finished the boil, all nicely, you can see that all nicely finished off. Got my chiller all connected up, all the way back to the tap, and down to the drain. You'll notice I've got some lights going, pointing outside, because it's our glorious winter here in the UK, and my wife insists I brew outside because she doesn't like the smell. Hence the reason we're stuck outside, and it's getting towards the end of the day, it's getting dark, so I do apologise for the slightly dark footage, but we'll do the best we can. Fermenter there is still nicely sterilised, so what I'm going to do is I've taken a sample which is just cooling down nicely outside. I'm going to just let the hops that have gone in just steep for a little bit longer. You'll see that steaming away quite nicely. So they're just the Nelson Sauvin and the Galaxy just steeping away quite pleasantly. I added a Protofloc tablet, went in there earlier to thicken things up. We'll start cooling, and then we'll get ready to start to transfer everything into the fermenter. So anyway, hey, we're at the last knockings now. I just thought I'd tell you, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you because it's going to be a bit tricky, but sterilised my scissors, my sieve, because I like to sieve everything as it comes out of the Braumeister before it goes into the fermenter. And I've been sterilising with my trusty Star Sand solution in an old de-icer bottle, but it's fully clean and stuff. I've been using it for a while. So giving everything a really good sterilise beforehand. But what I've discovered works really well and gets a fermentation going literally within 6 hours is I actually put the Y yeast in the fermenter first, and then I put the wort on top. I've not read anywhere about doing this or not doing it. I mean, everywhere seems to say about putting it in, pitching it on top, but I know the temperature of the wort's good, so and it seems to mix it all through, aerate it all through lovely, and gets it going like a rocket. So I'm going to go and do that now. It's probably going to be a bit too tricky in the dark outside to be able to show you, so I'll come back and just kind of report on the end of the brew when all that's done. Okay, cool, right, here we go. Right, so that's it, done. So yeah, pitch the wort on top of the yeast, as I have done probably about 8 times now with that Y yeast. It seems to work really well. So that's now in the fermenting fridge, which I don't think I've shown you yet, so I might have to do a really short video this time, because I know some of my videos have been a bit long. A quick short video about how I've built a fermenting fridge. It's just a single height fridge, temperature controlled, heating, cooling, all that sort of stuff, so I can ferment everything just right. This IPA that I've just made today is gone in at 19.5 degrees, which is really good this time of year because outside temperature is about 13 degrees, so keeps it nice and warm. I've used an old hairdryer, but we'll cover that on a different video. So that's all in. I've just checked the numbers, and interestingly this one's come out a little bit low, and I can only assume pre-boil I might have added probably about a litre and a bit too much water. The numbers show that I just about hit the pre-boil numbers bang on according to Beersmith, but post-boil I'm about 3 points short, so I was aiming for 1050. I've come out at 1047, maybe 1046, but to me it looks like 1047, so about 3 points short. So something to learn there, which I haven't had before actually. I've always post-boil always been high, so it's an interesting one. Whether it's because it's a little bit colder outside, no wind. I obviously kept the lid on all the way through. So, but anyway, so that's all done. There's a load of dry hopping to be done after 7 days with this Nelson Galaxy IPA. It can be quite heavy on the dry hopping, I think. Looking for something a bit over the top, if you know what I mean. I've never tried Nelson Sauvin hops before, so looking forward to that one. I've got a bit of bottling coming up in the next week or so, so I might do a little video on that. But yeah, no, other than that, brew day done. Just got the clean up to do now, which we all know is the downside to all of this. I'm not going to bore you with that. So yeah, so thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you found this interesting. A few little things that I've kind of put in along the way that I've learnt along the way, and yeah, I shall see you all again. See you later. Bye bye.